First of all, I'd like to say that Casey Jones is a very valued person in our industry, especially for us. He's responsible for providing all of the things, most all of the things that we install in construction, buildings, conduit wire, boxes, switchgear, lighting fixtures, generators. The list goes on and on and on and on. And our business is very, very competitive. So we need service from people like Casey to get our equipment and all that material and equipment on the job site on time. It's complicated and there's a lot to it. And I've known Casey 30 years or more now. I think he's our favorite in the A.J. Kirkwood and Associates for providing that service. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I was just talking to Arch about when we met, so it was about 30 years ago. He was just opened up down in Newport Beach, little bitty office. And my boss, Herb Rice, called me in, and Arch was sitting in his office, and Herb said, well, I've known Arch for some time, and he said, he's opening up a new place, and you're going to be the salesman. And I didn't know anything, but it was a day that changed my life and changed my company's life. And I'll never forget it, and I'm so grateful for that day. So grateful that Herb had a lot of salesmen. He could have chose to come on in there and meet Arch, and he chose me. Thank you, Herb. Thank you, God, right? And so it's been such a great ride. I was just talking to Arch. I mean, the ride has been, it's gonna make me choke up. Just the ride has been so unbelievable. And so I was telling Leah earlier that there's two stories that I have to say. I'm gonna say one right now, and then I'm gonna say one at the end if I can. And that's that I'm busy. I am a busy man. I've got stuff going on, and my phone rings, and it's Arch Kirkwood. Says, we got some plans over here. You need to get over here. We gotta bid this job. So I'm so busy, but Arch Kirkwood's calling. You're hanging up the phone and you're going. So I go, and I get there, and I come in his war room about his desk, and he whips out all these plans and everything, and we sat down, and Arch has his pencil, and we're sitting down, we got the fixture schedule, and he goes, how much do you think that one is? And well, Arch, I think that one's probably about $350. He goes, nah, it's $225. I said, no, Arch, I think it's $350. No, it's $225. Okay, $225. Go to the next one, and well, what do you think of that one? I said, well, Arch, that's a newfangled type fixture. I think that one's about $525. No, I've been buying, that's $300. I'm okay, and so I look over, and Andrew's just like shaking his head, like, just shaking his head and so we did that, job after job after job, and I leave there thinking, oh my God, how are we gonna buy this job? Is he gonna be able to get the job? Well, he gets the job, and then I'm thinking, no, he got the job, what are we gonna do? And we're able to buy it, pretty much based on Arch's penciling. So very rarely would he erase something and go with what I said. And then here comes LED lighting. And I was, Arch, this is not the same. This is, it's the same. It's the same. And so we would do that, and we penciled out very many jobs together, and they all seemed to work out. Because why? Because Arch knows what he's doing. But more importantly, it's because Arch had a handshake with the guys you were dealing with, and they knew that, it might be this or it might be that, but Arch Kirkwood's going to build it and it's going to work, and that's what happened, right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It was fantastic. I have to say, I would always be so busy and couldn't do that, but looking back, those were the greatest times, right? Sitting down, figuring out a job. You called me over for help, but I'm the one who learned, right? So anyway.
The electrical business is a little complicated, and there's a lot of players. Lighting fixtures, well, not those, but they get a little complicated because there's an architectural feature to them, and the electrical construction industry is extremely competitive. It's so important for people like Casey to work with us and get us the right number.
When I think about, Arch, A.J. Kirkwood, I was thinking, because I saw a list of some questions or something, I was thinking, what are the words that come to mind for me? And for A.J. Kirkwood, and it's top down, but it's professionalism, and it's respect, and it's family, right? And there's no contractor like A.J. Kirkwood. I've dealt with many of them, and everybody that I've ever known that's gone to AJ Kirkwood tells me there's no company like this. I said, I know, I told you. I've been telling these people for years, right? And some people have recently come over to AJ Kirkwood and they're calling me up saying, there's just no company like this. And you know, when I say respect, they're my customer, but they respect me. They show respect not only to their clients, but to their vendors, you know, and it's just not the way it is out there. But that's what you guys have, is respect and professionalism, and it's family, right? And but so I don't get cut off. I have to tell my other story because it's just so important to me. So my wife passed away a couple years ago, and it was the funeral, and Arch and Michelle came walking down the thing to say hi to me, and they walked up, you know, we gave each other a hug and stuff, and he said to me, he said, Casey, you're a Kirkwood. And, you know, usually you would think that would shock somebody that somebody said that. Oh, you're a Kirkwood, right? But here's the shocking part about that statement. I wasn't shocked that you said that, because you've always treated me that way. And your company has always treated me that way, way beyond a business relationship, and even beyond a partnership in business, but as family. And so it didn't surprise me one bit when he said, Casey, you're a Kirkwood, because I am. And
You are.
it's been great. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.